Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Cupid's Coach podcast. I'm your host, Julie Ferman, inviting you, as always, to transform me to we through the process of doing dating better. And you're going to be doing it way better after today's interview because I have one of my favorite colleagues with me. His name is Ethridge, and he is a dating coach. He's a guy and he's a dating coach. So we're going to get a whole new perspective. Thanks for being on the show, Hunt.
Thank you for having me, Julie. As always, it's such a wonderful experience talking to you.
Oh my God. We're getting ready to do something tomorrow. Tell everybody what we're going to do tomorrow.
Well, you and I are on opposite sides of the country right now talking over Zoom. And tomorrow we're going to go to another country and see each other in person because about 100 of us love professionals are going to get together in Cancun and go over the finer points of the Gottman Institute, the love languages, and which matchmaking show is the best. So looking forward to it a lot.
Oh my gosh, I love these conferences. In 33 years that I've been in this industry, I have very, very rarely missed a conference. I think I probably get the all-time participation award for dating industry conferences because not only are we polishing our craft, but we're evolving the industry.
Absolutely. Together, which is important.
Yeah, it's not a static thing. I mean, especially in today's world, because culture is evolving and accelerating in growth and change so rapidly, we got to stay on top of it. So that's why I have you on the show. I want to hear what is new, what is different, what are you doing as a dating coach today that's different than what you might have been doing 5 years ago?
Oh, man. Yeah. So, yeah, obviously we'll cover all of this in, 45 minutes and we'll solve love, you and I. Everyone comes into this industry pretty much because they want to help people. There are very rare people that at 11 years old say, writing in their journal in third grade or something like, I want to be a matchmaker or a dating coach. So we all kind of come through various ways. And it's fascinating talking to each individual person. But the outlying thing or the outstanding thing is that all of us really enjoy people and then helping people.
Who's your ideal client? Is it a man or a woman?
It's two very different ways to go. Men, and again, obviously you and I will overgeneralize and oversimplify some things, and we can find exceptions to every rule. But for the most part, the men that get to me by the point they're at, they have wrestled with this a while. They have kind of come up that this choice that they need some help. And so when they get to me, they're like, I don't care what it is. Just tell me what to do. I'll do anything. Let me just do it. Let's do this. And I can joyfully say, okay, you're an idiot. This is what we need to do. Okay, thanks. Let's do it. Okay.
Now, with the guys, are they looking to find a relationship? Are they looking to get laid? There are a lot of pickup artists, a lot of guys going to these pickup artists, learning how to, what to say to a woman to get her into the bedroom. The guys coming to you, what are they looking for?
Mostly they're confused. They have no idea what's going on out there. They have no idea what they're supposed to be. They don't have any idea what masculine means anymore, nor do they how to portray that. And so you get a lot of guys that are just trying to figure out like, okay, I've learned how to be a good man, as in like not be a dick or a douche, kind of like I've at least gotten like ask people, care about them.
I've evolved beyond dick or douche.
We've at least gotten that far. But now, because of men's a little bit lower emotional intelligence and the lack of understanding of nuance in the dating game in the post Me Too, a lot of them don't understand or don't want to risk, even because they don't understand. If I go up and touch a woman on the shoulder and say, excuse me, can I buy you a drink? She's going to accuse me of assault and I'm going to get arrested. So I'm going to go just hang out in the corner with my bros and avoid all glances. And obviously that's not the case, but they don't understand the nuances. And then I'll get from my women, I went out with this great guy. You might hear this too. Like, it was great, everything on paper, but there was just no spark. There was just no romance. There was just no chemistry. And so I have my men going like, how do I get chemistry? And my women saying, why aren't these guys bringing chemistry? So
well, you can't.
That's the challenge.
Chemistry. Nobody can bring chemistry, right? Chemistry is an interaction that happens between two.
You can set the stage for chemistry to find you easier. Yes,
Okay,
you
tell
can't.
us more about that. I love that. Tell us more about
Okay.
how a man can set the stage to find chemistry more easily, or maybe it's women and men both.
It's humans. Louis Pasteur said, "Luck favors the prepared mind." Now, luck is going to come into play in our professional, personal, romantic lives, and all sorts of things. But if we are constantly out there, we've done the work, we see the people, we're constantly out there reading new stuff. Luck has a much easier way of finding us. Same thing with chemistry. It's a lot like luck. We know it when it's there, we know it when it's not there, but it's hard to define or create. So, what I try to instill is we set the stage for chemistry to find us best. And the way that we have traditionally set it up is not working well for us at all in many ways. The classic dinner date, kind of as an example. When men go talk to other men, our guy friends, if we walk into the bar together, where do we sit?
If you're with a
If I
guy,
walk in with like one of my guy friends
you
and I
probably
walk
sit
in,
where you can see the door, so you can see who's coming in.
see you by the door, and we sit next to each other. We do not look at each other. That's
Right. And something that's like, if you want to get your kid to talk to you, it's better if you're in the car and they're looking somewhere else. They will give you more juice.
because biologically, way back here in the man's brain, direct eye contact is still considered threatening or vulnerable back from our proto-human days. Whereas, and again, oversimplifying and overgeneralizing, when women talk about things that matter with each other, they show a way to show that I am here for you and nothing else matters is to show direct eye contact. That is not the way that men do it with each other. This is why men go golfing. This is why men go fishing. This is why men sit next to each other at the bars. Why men play video games. We do something next to each other, don't look at each other, and then start talking about things that matter. So even if a man doesn't necessarily understand or is conscious of that, just kind of that looking directly, the only time two men look directly into each other's eyes, squared off to each other, they're either going to fight or another verb that starts with F. And so, that just the way that is physically, biologically set up, not the best. And I'm not saying that
so it's better to go on it's better than going on a dinner date would be to meet up at the Santa Monica Pier and go for a walk side by side, talk about people, whatever is more comfortable. At least for a guy, it's going to be more comfortable.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Because many reasons, but then you're using all the things around you that you can riff off of and talk about. So you're not necessarily just figuring out what do we talk about and how do we do this? Because again, what are some classic getting to know you questions that people always ask on dates?
What do you like to do on Sundays, Hunt?
Where do you have kids? Why did you get divorced? What's your favorite color?
Like that
favorite
matters.
Food. Are these logical or emotional questions?
I don't know if color is emotional or not. Is it?
Most of them are just logical questions because it is like, where do you live?
Yeah, it's
how old are you?
Yeah.
And now we look at Einstein's definition of insanity. We're using logical questions and expecting an emotional result. So we're not, again, we can overcome all of these things. I'm just saying we are not putting ourselves in the best place for chemistry to find us. And
so side by side is better than looking each other.
I want to be able to like bump you and nudge you and be able to like, oh, look at that. It gives you the opportunity to start developing that chemistry. It is a lot harder for me to reach across the table to be like, that's a great joke. And then, come back. Then it is like, that was funny. So again, so for me, well, one, Socrates says I can learn more about a man in an hour of play than in a lifetime of conversation. So to your point on the Santa Monica Pier, do anything, do something.
I had a couple that fell in love at the Santa Monica Pier over air hockey.
Believe it. I would absolutely believe it. I would bring my dates to shoot pool.
Shoot pool.
I want to see how you deal with competition. I want to see how you do with winning. I want to see how you deal with losing. I want to see how you treat the staff. I want to see how you can treat a little bit of ball busting and ribbing. That gives me the ability to go behind you and show you how to shoot a combo. And there are balls and holes and sticks and racks. And so there are jokes and innuendos that are set up for me should I want to go that route and use them, because I put myself in a place where I have a lot of ways to foster that chemistry.
Love that. Really good stuff. So the nature of the first date, what we're doing for the first date is a big part of how we can set ourselves up for chemistry. What about the way we're being? Like, instead of what we're doing, how we're being?
Well, I think that same, because again, if you and I are sitting across from each other on a date and I say, do you want kids? I'm going to get a stock answer, or at least a prepared answer, which may or may not be the truth. It is how you want to be perceived. Now, if we're doing activities or things like that, and I say, oh, look at those two kids, those two brothers running around together. And then I hear you say, like, man, they shouldn't make this like kid friendly at this late at night. This should only be for adults. It's like, oh, well,
That tells you something, doesn't it?
Just going to file that one away a little bit too. So I believe you're getting more truth. It's about learning how to hear it and understand what you're hearing. But anytime you sit and you just start lobbing these questions back and forth, it's like a dating interview. You've got your dating resume that you're just going to bring out. And I'm not saying it's inauthentic, but it's a bit scripted, and it's not setting the stage for emotions to come out. So one of the things I preach, even if I get 1 hour with, I sometimes with Maria or Lisa or all these people, I only get 1 hour with their clients. So I have to pack a lot of punch in that 1 hour. And the thing that I would hammer home is that every question that you can ask logically, you can ask emotionally. And the key to that is that you're giving them access to their own positive emotions. Now, if they think about happy times to answer your question, how does that make them feel? Happy, because memories and emotions are linked. And lastly, and most importantly, those feelings of positivity and feelings of you start to intertwine so that when they're out with you, they feel so good about themselves that in order to feel good about themselves, they want to be out with you.
So let's hone in on this question about family planning. Okay. It's one of the things that especially women in their 20s, 30s, getting into the mid 30s, getting into the late 30s, God forbid they're in their early 40s, they still want to have kids. Maybe they have their eggs on ice, maybe they don't. There's so many people in that mode. How do you ask the question, about kids in a way that will elicit an emotional response as opposed to yes, no, maybe?
Here's my prepared answer. This is what I know women want to hear. So this is what I'm putting out there. Exactly. No, completely. So again, this is one of the things I teach my clients is like, if we assume the issue is a circle in the middle, I want to find out what religion they are. I want to find out if they're good with kids. I want to find out their family. I want to find out if they smoke, whatever it is. Usually if you ask about the issue directly, you're going to get that prepared or stock answer. However, you can start to ask questions that are tangential next to the issue. For instance, if you won the lottery after you paid off your debts, what would you do first? If you hear, I would buy a 2-seater Corvette and head down Route 66. Okay, 2-seater, good to know. But if he says, oh, I've got a bunch of cousins and I'd love to pay for all their college educations because it sucks being in debt. And it's like, okay, cares about family. Then you ask another question like, what were holidays like for you as a kid? Oh, so my mom would take us out and we would bake 3 dozen cookies and we would deliver them here and here and here and here. The next question is, what was the best gift you ever got or received? And while you are listening to these, the more questions you ask, the more the space in the middle starts to reveal itself. And the best is that they don't even know that they are revealing all of this information to you because it's not being asked about. And so there's a lot of little questions that I will come up with that give me insight into a person's character that are tangential to the issues at hand.
I love this. You're such a good person to interview on this stuff, Hunt. I'm really, really happy you're doing this. No wonder Maria hires you to be, this is matchmaker Maria we're talking about, to work with her clients. Michelle Jacoby, who's DC matchmaking, she hires you to work with her clients, smart girl. Those are 2 of the smartest matchmakers on the planet. So here's what would you say about, what do you say at the end of the date? It's the end of the date. And So many people just complain about the ghosting, the lack of communication. What's the best way to handle the end of the date when you're kind of liking this person, you'd like to see him again, you want to get a sense of, is that going to happen or not?
Totally. So this kind of comes back to the sort of similar to the question of like, do I lean in for the kiss at the end of the night? One should know if you're going to be getting a date or ask for a kiss before you get to that aspect of the night, because you should know if you had a good time or not on the date. That being said, I know that's not the way it is all the time. What I like to do, one, is be direct, but not ultra specific. For instance, like, I like you. I want to see you again. How about I'll call you Tuesday? Or how about I call you in the earlier in the week and we can set something up? Couple things happen here. One, I'm letting you know how I feel. You have to communicate to each other. We just need to do that.
It's so hard to say those words. I like you. I would like to see you again.
And it just like it. Oh, okay. They like me. Now I know. It's so right. It's so simple when we know it, but until you get there, it can seem very, very daunting. I'd like to see you again. It is also a statement as opposed to a question, which is always stronger than a question. Not, hey, do you want to see me again? It is, I want to see you again.
A woman is waiting for a guy to say that if she likes him. If she's not too sure she likes him, then it's very confronting if he says that.
And then you give them sort of like, I would like to see you again. I will reach out to you in the early in the week to set something up. So one, you're not asking them right now to say yes or no to a date, because that puts somebody on the spot. You're giving them a timeline, like, I will act within this time to let you know where you stand. But because it's somewhat nebulous, is he going to call me on Monday? Is he going to call me on Tuesday? When's it going to happen? I hope he calls. So it gives a little bit of something so that they can think about you and look forward to it and be just a little bit unsure of when you're going to, you said when you're going to call, but not exactly when you're going to call.
And it's kind of like in sales, the presumptive close. So this has been really fun, Hunt, or let's say I'm the guy. This has been really fun, Julie. I'm going to call you and see if we can, and invite you out for another date for next week. You're not going to say, is that okay? You're just going to, I'm going to call you.
I'm going to. What she wants to do with me calling her, she can choose that. I'm just letting you know, as a strong man, what I am going to do.
Beautiful.
That demonstrates my reliability, demonstrates like leadership qualities, lets the woman know right off the bat whether or not you liked him, because everyone is so confused after the first date. Did they like me? Did they not like me? Do they want to see me again? At least it clears that up, if nothing else.
You're so much fun. I had such a great time today. I'm calling you to ask you out, and I'll be in touch with you this week. I'm looking forward to seeing you again.
I had such a great time with you. When you said that thing that made me laugh, it made me want to be around you, more to laugh more often. So I'm going to call you and we can laugh more often. Now I'm gussying it up a little bit, making it a little bit cuter, but yeah.
Oh, you're brilliant. All right. Now, what do you do if you're the girl and you're with the guy who hasn't been coached by Hunt yet, and he doesn't know to do that?
And he says, like, what? Like, oh, can I see you again? You know, like,
he's just not saying much of anything, and she likes him and she wants to see him again.
This is what I like to help my women with too, because you have the world and the media saying, don't, and like the rules. I just got a pre-release copy of the rules.
I can't believe they're still riding that train. It was the worst book ever known to man. Burn it.
And one of them's divorced. I mean, I can't throw, like, we can't control everybody's futures, and I'm not, divorce shaming, but one should look at all of the data when one is going in to take some advice from someone. But so it's the same schlock, just repeat it all over again. I got about halfway through it, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. Anyways, you've got this group saying, sit back, be traditional. You've got another group saying, women can take charge, stuff like that. And people are trying to figure it out. And look, men do like a little bit of the hunt, and men should be putting forth effort and work. However, sometimes with everything, and this is its own thing that we can discuss another time, men are scared or confused or don't see a space for them in your life because you appear too perfect.
Or
Now,
too busy.
or too busy, or all of these other things. So the woman can make the first move, but still give the man space to see if he's going to work for it. For instance, let's say it's the night they see each other at an event, at a party, bar, whatnot. She says, oh, that guy looks cute. I'm going to make the choice of who I want to talk to tonight, because that will get you usually better than waiting for who wants to choose you. I go over there and I'm the woman. I say, hi. Oh, I just want to tell you that I heard you talking about that go-kart race. That sounded funny. I would love to go, do go-karts one day. But I just wanted to say hi. I got to go back and talk to my girlfriends now, but come find me later. So now you're telling him the door's open. That's it. Okay? He's still got to walk through it.
I had so much fun having this chat with you, Hunt. You know what? If you asked me out, I'd probably say yes. If you asked me out for coffee, I'd say yes.
There you go. And it can be done later on if it's not in the, like, for instance, you went on 1 or 2 dates and the dude, because again, the guy doesn't have a lot of huge emotional or dating IQ and says, hey, would you like to go out to dinner again on Tuesday? You say, you know what? There's a music festival coming into town this weekend. Why don't you find us something cool to do around that? So you're letting him know this is what I want to do, but making sure, which he's, oh, thank God, now I know what she likes, but still making certain, like, is he going to research this? Is he going to choose something? Is he going to find something for us? So it makes the man, like, men, give us parameters and give us a task, and like, we're really good with that. So
yeah, sometimes I notice this a lot with guys. They need a little bit of direction. And part of the reason that they're looking for the direction is you guys want us to be happy. You want to make us happy, and you don't know what's going to make us happy because we're so freaking complicated.
So if you just tell us what's going to make you happy, then, like, how would you like to go out to dinner? Great. I don't like Italian or Japanese. Awesome. Thank you. Now I have parameters, because what does the man think the most? What is the question going through his mind the most when he's sitting on that first date? What do you think?
Does she like me? Am I going to get to see her again?
That's second, because the first one has to exist first. And that is, oh my God, I hope that she is having
fun. She's got to be having
fun. Pick the right spot. Is this right? Is the music too loud? Does she like this type of food? All of these things. If you tell me what you like at the beginning,
yeah,
I can relax.
It's so beautiful.
If I can relax, now it lets you be able to relax, and we can actually kind of get to the fun, as Maria calls it, the gooey center of the date. And,
I thought that was Michelle who talks about the gooey.
They probably both do back and forth. I was listening to Maria's latest podcast today.
Yeah, I love the gooey center. This is great to help women remember how important it is to let the guy know that things are going well. Thank you so much for getting here and getting the table. Sometimes it's really hard to get a table at this coffee shop. Thanks for doing that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, because here's the thing too. Women compliment women the way that they know how, because they are women and they understand what their core values are, what makes women happy. Women compliment men the same way they compliment women, which is unsurprisingly, not the way men would prefer to it. For instance, we have been taught to be a rock. Who compliments a rock? No one. But that's what we are taught to be. And so exactly, when you can do something as simple as that, you say, oh, I love your shirt. Thanks, my mom bought it for me. Because that's not a core that makes me like, I just wanted to say thank you for going to that job you hate every day, grinding out this so we can go out and do fun stuff like this. Well, yes. Thank you.
How about, you show up, oh my gosh, look at you with a dress shirt. Thank you for coming in a dress shirt instead of like, a t-shirt and flip-flops like some guys do. Isn't that nice? Your mama taught you well how to dress. Isn't that good?
You got to switch it around almost like a dog. We just need that simple, like, oh my God, look at you in a collared shirt. You look adorable.
You are rocking that collared shirt.
If you are trying to sell me a car, I would buy it right now. It's like, okay, thank you. All right, got it. And men will hold on to that compliment for 25 years.
Isn't that amazing? So we as women really need to just be generous with compliments.
Because, and this goes into like, I took the garbage out, and why does he need to get thanked for the garbage? I just did 100 things today that I didn't get thanked for. Yes, that's also because men don't give each other affirmations or validations. So the only person that we're going to get something good from is usually our other half or our mom or our mom, So
It
I
makes
still
me
coach all of
feel
my men. We
sad.
have to help each other as men so
Yeah.
that we don't leave all of this emotional regulation to the women.
Oh, this is beautiful. I love this. All right. Common blind spots that you see in women who are single and dating. Like, where do you see women missing opportunities?
Oh, okay. The biggest challenge I see with women right now, and that's is you can, I'm sure, see a lot of this too, is that women have crushed the heteronormative barriers of glass ceilings, like becoming their own bosses and boss babes and VPs and owners, but adamantly, again, oversimplifying, adamantly refusing to let go of the heteronormative behavior of dating up, or at least even equal. There's no more up, ladies. You're the up. That's
Yeah,
it. Like, so now
you're
you
so
have
right.
to
Yeah.
decide.
There aren't enough men who earn more than women, who also are 6 feet or taller, who also have emotional intelligence, who also, it's just get over it.
If you want a man that's over 6 feet, that's 14% of men in the US. If you want a man that is 6 foot and advanced degree, that's 0.1%.
Oh
Or
my
maybe it's
God.
1%. I forget exactly what the decimal is, but it's
It's
still like, and
genetically.
that's not to say whether they're attractive,
Yeah.
gay, they like you,
Yeah.
they live anywhere near you, then you're whittling away all of those percentages. So it is, I think that women will have to come to a reckoning within the next 10 years of what is it that I want? Is it intimacy? Is it companionship? Is it love? Is it a family? Is it an equal? Is it a partner? All of these can be found in one person, but they're all individual traits that if you can figure out which one of those is most important to you, then we can sort of work backwards from there. But you
And
need to
another
find
way to work backwards,
complementary.
and yes, complementary, exactly, because it's one thing to say, I want to be with a guy who's strong and confident and competent and resourceful and earns more than he spends and he's secure financially and all that kind of stuff. Well, women forget to ask themselves, what kind of woman does that kind of guy want to come home to? Men tell me, I love the expression that one of my clients said to me. He said, Julie, I really need you to find me a woman who might be, for me, a soft place to land at the end of the day. And I'm not seeing women like that out there. I'm seeing ball busters. I'm seeing women who won't let me finish a sentence. I'm seeing women who have to keep one-upping me. And what's happened to vulnerability, receptivity, the things that women used to be good at?
Yes. Well, and in this, again, overgeneralizing, in the business world, women have learned that sometimes if they show vulnerability, it can be perceived as weakness, and it is not. But because of the way that is, women, excuse me, especially powerful women, have learned to kind of wall that vulnerability away. And so, me, as an average man that doesn't earn as much as you, that thinks you're beautiful and awesome, you look perfect. I don't see space for me because there's no vulnerability, there's no softness to it. And I get it because these are the skill sets that got you successful in this world.
Yeah.
I get it. So you try to translate that into other areas, but you have a bunch of guys that may not be out earning these women who just think that they don't want me because there's nowhere for me in this. And
And
so go ahead.
Allison Armstrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she helped me understand that you guys will not engage in an activity. You will not play a game that you feel you have no ability to win at. You will just opt out. It's a waste of energy.
Pretty much.
So
Yeah.
if we,
Because it makes me feel like a failure.
yeah. So if we're treating you on a date, or we're grilling you or questioning you or looking at you sideways, like, I don't think he's going to measure up or something, you're just going to, it's not that you're intimidated by her success. You're just like put off by the way there's no place for you.
Yeah. And do you remember the speaker we had at the Matchmaking Institute that basically said men are terrified of women?
Oh
And so
yeah.
we have all of that. If I tell you what I
Avram
honestly think,
Weiss.
like
Avram.
what my real hobbies are, how I really like to spend my time, what I really like to do on a date, I am terrified that I'm going to be belittled and looked at as a child. Like, what do I want to do? I don't want to go to dinner. I want to go axe throwing. Like, that's exciting for me. But what do I like to do? I like to play video games. I have my Atari 2600 right over there. I'm more secure because I'm married now. But most guys will never lead with that because we're terrified of how you're going to. Whereas, imagine a man belittling a woman's hobby, how that would go. And again, I'm not saying that women do this, but men are terrified that they will do this. And so they hold themselves back and try to put out what they think women are looking for. And most of the time, they're so wrong.
Yeah. And it's part of the reason why men instinctively gravitate to younger women, because they think they're going to have a better chance of being respected, admired, appreciated.
Yes, let me pull that out.
Love and respect by.
Talk about unconditional love. This is by a pastor, so you have to take some of it with a grain of salt. But Dr. Emerson Eggers. Basically, we talk about unconditional love, but we don't talk about unconditional respect. And they interviewed men in this, and they said, would you rather be loved by everyone and respected by no one, or respected by everyone and loved by no one? 75% of men said they'd rather be respected by everyone and loved by no one, which just goes to show how much respect plays into it. And 100% to what you said. A woman that is younger may look up at this man and be like, ooh.
Yeah, we don't want to show up on a date or like, show me that you're worthy of respect.
100%.
Bring the respect with you. You show up, the guy shows up, you already respect him.
Whatever his hobby is, respect it. Doesn't matter. Whatever your thing is, I love it. Respect me. And this goes cyclical. Women usually need to feel love in order to give respect, and men need to feel respect in order to give love. And this kind of goes into the, like, you get into the spiral sometime, or the four horsemen come in and you're being negative to each other. And, well, I'm not going to make the first step if they don't make the first step. And that doesn't work out well. But yes, men crave, well, I'll put it in the reverse. The two most used words in men's suicide notes are worthless and useless. So if you want to extrapolate what is the most important thing in the world to a man that will literally keep him alive, feeling useful and feeling that he has worth.
It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Not to mention if we have sons.
Yeah. Yeah. And so even in my coaching, I run a dad's group. Even in these things, how can I give the men the things that they're craving, that they're not getting from society? Not saying that, that lack from their partner, just the lack of the way that society is set up right now. Many men list or having some sort of physical mastery over the world as something that is considered manly.
It might be you're good at the game of golf. It might be you're good at hunting, shooting things. You're
whittling, gardening, anything that brings creation into the world. And women like to see this as well too. That you interact with the world. Like, I used to work construction. I grew up in the country. I can swing an axe. I can build a house. So I like, and because then that gives men a feeling of power. The easiest definition of power is the ability to influence your environment. And right now, men feel powerless. And so when you feel powerless, you don't feel you have anything to offer. If you don't feel like you have anything to offer, you don't want to be rejected over and over again. So you retreat.
Wow, this is just brilliant. And, it's inconvenient, but we women need to realize that we have so much power to influence the men in our world by bringing respect, bringing love, bringing admiration, appreciation. Bring it, ladies. Don't sit there waiting for him to show you that he's worth it. He won't give you energy if he doesn't feel that you're worth it. So somebody has to show it. You bring it on your date.
Yeah. Yeah. And just it can even be done in a joking manner. Like, oh, my arms are so tired and I know I could carry this bag up, but your muscles are so big and so strong. I bet you could carry it better than me. Yes, sir. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll get it from you. We give you women the space to be, I hate this phrase, but boss babes. Give us the space to be men. Yeah.
Brilliantly said, Hunt. I'm so glad that I have you on this show. It's amazing. All right. Give me an example of a coaching client or somebody that you've seen out there in the world who totally rose to the occasion, seized opportunities, caused something to happen that would not have happened had they not stepped up to the plate.
Completely. I got one former client and one current client right now. One former client many years ago, his name was Len. Maybe he was meeting with him like the third or fourth time, and he came just like strolling up with this huge smile on his face, and was like, "Hey, dude, like, how you doing?" Yeah, he was a shorter dude, had his own insecurities about everything, and he's like, "Okay, so like, I was walking here, and I was standing at a stop sign, and there was a woman next to me, and I spoke to her, and she spoke back." Because like you could just see that in his head, online or at a bar was the only place to meet women. And he suddenly saw that the whole world was now open to him and that you could meet people everywhere. And just watching that like click and that joy and that aha moment was, what I'm really here for. And I have a current client right now that has kind of like this resting face.
Resting bitch face.
Yeah, he's a dude, bald.
It's a dude. What do we call it if it's a guy? Resting dick face.
Resting dick face, basically. Yeah, resting asshole face, just looking like. And this is kind of like murder face. Like he's thinking about stuff, but his face is nicest, sweetest guy, awesome dude. Anyways, but he's out in LA. He actually went out with Chris. Had him go out with my mentee Chris. That part is part of the package to go take him out in LA as well too. One of my coaches now is Nadia from Indian Matchmaking. She and I connected, and so she helps kind of talk to my men about how to up their game on a date and stuff like that too. So one of the things that I was, so we're just trying to like he's a great guy in here. Let's bring it out here to show so people can see it. So they want to interact with you so you can see the positivity, which makes you excited about going into these things. So one of the things I give to my clients as homework is to go speed dating. It's basically like going to the gym. You need to get your reps in, right? I practice asking questions, practice answering questions, practice telling stories, whatever it is for that particular time. The goal is not to get a date. In fact, the goal is to almost like fail on each date because you just want data. How do people respond to this question? What questions do people ask me that I need to prepare good answers for? Things like this. And the goal is not to get a date. The goal is not to get a date. The goal is just to practice. You just have to look at it. Correct goal setting, very important. The goal is to just get a date. So if they go in there not trying to get a date with that energy, what usually happens?
They end up getting a date.
They get a date because I have to put them in a place so that they can kind of see that. Whilst they're practicing, that's actually what it's for. But because they don't have any fear of loss, they're not worried about how I'm being perceived. And because I don't have that fear of loss, now I appear calm, cool, collected, and confident. Now I want to know more about this person. So now he's currently dating a person that he met on the first speed dating one that he went on because of all the things that he learned. And so now we're kind of helping him along on this little relationship that he's gotten. We're just excited to watch him. He's like a beautiful, cute little puppy dog.
There's so much power when we feel ourselves being self-conscious or, worry about how we're going to come across, what's the result of this speed dating going to be? What's the result of this date going to be? That's all like constricted stuff where it's hard to hold eye contact. We're self-conscious. It's so easy if we just shift it to what can I give? How can I make a smile show up on Hunt's face?
Yes.
What can I say that will tickle him? What can I,
Because
what
also you
question?
say, like, I have to like sort of hammer it into my clients too. So like, do you remember the last social event that you were at when somebody said something slightly socially awkward? And they're like, not really. And I say, how about a time that you were at a social event and you said something slightly socially awkward? Do you remember one of those? And they're like, absolutely. I'm like, okay, so what can we learn from these two things? No one remembers or cares in a positive way. You are the only one that's holding on to those little bêtises or failures or gaffes. If you can forgive yourself and know that no one's going to remember this, good or bad, that it's sort of the next day, it gets you so much more freedom to not worry about what the results are and to honestly just be who you are, which is going to give you better results.
It's so true. You know, my husband always tried to get me into the game of golf, and I don't have the right temperament for it, as you might imagine. But I was always so worried about what other people would think, the people behind me, the people in front of me. Now that's because I'm from St. Louis, and the what they do in St. Louis is everyone worries about what everybody else is thinking. So it's this weird culture. I poke fun at St. Louis all the time. But my husband said to me, Julie, nobody gives a rat's ass what you're doing on with your, they're worried about their game. So what do you, and it
What
happens.
about how they're looking to the people behind them?
Oh, so just the other day, we are members of this country club, and where we're sitting watching, you know, people coming in and playing golf, they're horrible. They're just god awful, the worst golfers you could imagine, you know. And I'm thinking, how do they have the nerve? I asked Gil, how do they have the nerve to get out there and play that badly? He's like, they're not thinking about you watching them. They're just trying to get their stupid ball in the hole. Why do you, nobody cares. It's because I'm from St. Louis.
Yeah. And here's the thing, a thing that I think is amazing too. Not only just does nobody care, I ask my clients, have wonderful and amazing things happen to you in your life? Yes. Does anybody ask you about them? No. That okay. So not only you, but most likely the person sitting across from you, and most likely everybody in the room that you're in feels that same way. And when you can start to use these positive emotional questions just on everyone that you interact with on a daily basis as a human thing, bring back that power again. You have the power, so much power, to positively influence people's lives, and it takes so little effort.
You know, that's really a theme here, and I love it. Positive emotional questions. Can you give us some more examples of what that looks like?
Give me a normal logical question that somebody would ask on a date.
Where'd you go to college and what did you study?
What was the funniest prank you ever saw in school? Who was the cutest college couple that you had? What was your coolest sports moment on campus? What teacher inspired the most passion in you? What assignment did you kick ass on the most? Any of those will get you basically the, oh my God, so okay, went to the University of South Carolina, and there was this, oh my God, we hate the Tar Heels, right? And like,
they're off and running.
They're off and running.
How come you've been single for so long, Hunt? How come you've never been married?
Now, that one is something that I teach too, is how to reframe a question that you don't want to get or don't want to answer. Because one, we're all going to get it. And two, men are idiots sometimes. And we'll ask, why did you get divorced on a first date?
That is the stupidest question.
I know. So basically, there's something called a black swan event. Now, what a black swan event is something that you just can't predict at all. 9/11, Oklahoma City bombing, you know, so you can't plan for every possible scenario, every question that you're going to get, but you can prepare how will you react when you get one of those questions. So basically, there's a 4 to 5 thing that you want to do. That's a great question. I'll definitely answer that in like the 3rd or 4th date, but this is a first date and I'd like to have some fun. So what would you think if zebras weren't striped, should they be polka dotted or plaid? Yeah. But what happened briefly there is you accepted the question, because if you say, I don't want to answer that, or you avoid it, or you say, that's a dumb question, or you just answer a different one, they feel in their own way rejected, which it's their fault because they asked a dumb question. But if you don't want to crush the energy on a date and just realize he's being a doofus and let me help him out with this, that's a fair question. You know, we all have baggage. What's fine. I'll be happy to tell that and then give a timeline.
The other thing I'll suggest to people too is whatever questions you know are going to be coming at you, that have come at you before, they're probably going to come at you again. have a 10-second response, prepare a 60-second response, a 30-second response, a 10-second response, so that you've always got a way to
all of my clients get a worksheet, 3 columns. Write down any question you can think of. How would I ask this question emotionally? And how would I answer this question emotionally? And it just gives you a cheat sheet really for conversation, because you know for 100% you're going to be getting these questions asked to you at a networking event, on a date, your friends, kids, parents, so it would behoove one to be able to have responses that are going to maximize your benefits and minimize your losses, make you look good.
It could be as easy as saying, we discovered that we're better co-parents or better friends than we are romantic partners.
Yeah. Yeah.
For now, I'll leave it at that. We'll talk about it more later, but
yeah, exactly. Or there's a thing called like the shit sandwich, like where you need to like tweak something. And it's like, I love the fact how that you really want to know a lot of these questions about me. Some of these, I don't feel like necessarily answering on a first date, and we'll answer later. But I love the fact of how into me you are. Positive, and then the negatives in the middle. So, it can help them.
And it works with your girls too, doesn't it, hon?
It should, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it blows up in your face because, there's just no logic there. But yes, yeah, I try.
Why there's no logic there? Because your children are daughters?
Because the brains are forming, and like you cut apple slices differently today than yesterday, so now they don't like apples. So it's all a learning process.
Unbelievable. All right, so what I don't know is, how did you meet your wife?
There's 2 stories to this. So the story of, if you'd asked me, say, how did you meet your wife, I would say I was at a bar on Tuesday nights at Madison's. It was two for Tuesdays, martini night. I look over across the room and I see this beautiful woman go, and then click her finger.
Actually give you the finger
actually like that. And of course,
God.
I'm like, well, that's right. Yeah. Amble across, thinking I'm all that, stuff like that. I get up to her and she's like, hi, is your name Hunt? And like my face fell. I was like, yeah. In my head, I'm like, who do you know? What do I need to apologize for? Have we? Maybe. And she's like, yeah, and your favorite series of books is the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. Like, yeah. And the Sword of Shannara series by Terry Brooks. Yeah. How do you know this? She's like, I'm psychic. And in my head, I'm like, fuck you. Like, seriously, how do you know this? So the real story is we met on MySpace. MySpace had a feature where you could actually look for movies that people liked, books that people liked. So there was a series of books. This is pre-Harry Potter, when fantasy was still something you had to hide and wasn't cool. So you don't tell girls that you read dragon books at all, ever. And so I just searched for that, and she came up, and I'm probably, I used MySpace like other people use Match.com. So it's like, hey, how you doing? You're around me. Hello. And she never responded because she had a boyfriend at the time. And then about 6 months later, I apparently ran into her at a street festival when she was with her boyfriend, who was an acquaintance of mine. And there's probably something like, oh, hey, Matt, how you doing? Meet you. Oh, hello, Karen. Nice to meet you. So anyways, how are you going? Are you going to go to Pool League on Thursday? But she was like, that's that guy, Hunt, because it's a unique name. And then 6 months later, she was out at a bar and she was hunting, and her friend was hunting and she was bored. And I was out at a bar and my friend was hunting and I was bored. So she said, oh, that's that guy, Hunt. I'm bored. Hey, come here. So
isn't that great? No, I tell women to do that. You're across the bar from somebody and there's eye contact, smile at him and wave him over with your finger. That's
just show that the door is open
in the right way.
Yes. Yeah. So I still got that memory of like seeing the most beautiful woman in the world, quirking her finger and saying, come here.
And the ladies are listening. I've been asking for 33 years how people meet. And I think it's like 75% of the time, I would venture to say, the connection, it happened because a woman did something.
There was a post I saw recently. I was just thinking of a time when I was in college and was really vibing with this guy in the bar. And then I left and I was really angry that he didn't ask for my number. So I went back in and yelled at him for not taking my number, and we're married now.
Well, okay, so it's very similar golf. It was a golf thing, and this lady was paired with this guy all day and thought it was wonderful. And she thought for sure, he's going to ask me out. Well, he didn't, and she was like, "Wah!" And so she gets in her car and she drives around, sees him putting his clubs in his trunk. She lowers her window and she says, "So aren't you going to ask me out?" Married, 2 children.
Well, it's like the guy wants you, but he's terrified too, or doesn't know how to read signs that she's into him, because the old phrase, like, if a woman's being subtle, the man's oblivious. If the woman's being obvious, the man thinks she's being subtle. If the woman hits him over the head with a brick, he might get it.
Well, it's so true. And I remember something that Brian Howie said. I don't know if
oh, yeah. I've been on the Great Love Debate.
Oh, yeah. So he produces my podcast. So he was saying something on the stage one day that I'll never forget, that what guys want, they want a woman who likes him.
I have the data like right here. I think I can actually pull up that actual study.
We are withholding our admiration, love, respect, because we think you're supposed to earn it or like us first. And we got a better chance with you if you already know.
Tell me that you like me. I like you back almost immediately. Pretty much. It's absolutely amazing.
That's one of the powerful things that we have as women that we overlook. We need to let you guys know that we like you, we appreciate you, we think you're fun and funny, laugh at your
Here it is. Look, here's the I want you to want me, a quantitative analysis of heterosexual men's desires to feel desired in intimate relationships.
I love how you got this brainy element of how you do your work. It's great.
Well, that's the thing too, as like it's part art, it's part science, it's part skill set. And so, and you can, combine it for people in ways that we have to make it accessible for the person sitting across from us in whatever way that we can do. Otherwise, they're not going to hear it. It's not going to resonate with them. And so the more knowledgeable you can be, the easier it is, I think, to help each person.
So great. So tell my audience, my people, how they can work with you. Where do they find you? What do they do?
Thank you. Well, you can go to my website at huntforadvice.com and check out a couple hundred of my articles that I've read. You can go on my YouTube or Instagram account at Quest for Advice. Probably got 100 videos and plus out there. Love to hear from people. I've got a new podcast out called Hunt for Relationship Science. And I read these studies, and then I invite the authors of the studies on, and we talk about the data and what it means to the average person. Why is it important? And how can we all be better? So get that wherever your podcasts are, or if you happen to be in Cancun in the next couple of days, come find us.
I think we're sold out. I don't think there's any more room.
I'm just so looking forward to it. Basically track us down, listen to us. We want to hear from you, and I want you to hear us, because each one of us wants to get you to the same place. Each of us have a slightly different way of getting there. And the most important thing is that you find someone that you feel speaks to you and has your best interests at heart.
That's it. I love it. Well, thank you for your time, Hunt. I absolutely adore you. I can't wait to have a margarita with you quite soon, maybe tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. What time are you flying in?
I get in around 5:30 or so.
All right. I'll have one.
Save a margarita for me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. I'm glad you had a chance to discover who Hunt Ethridge is. Hunt for Advice, and also Hunt for Relationship Science is another of his podcasts. And until we meet again, you go out there and transform me to we. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.